Hey y'all, it's y'all favorite cozy girl, Chi the Reality Queen, and I am back again with another episode of Robe Chronicles. Tonight, we're going to be talking about Real Housewives of Potomac, Season 8, Reunion, Part 3. Woo, we at the end, y'all. This season has been insane. Just so much nonsense. Like, it wasn't a good season. Like, it really was just dreadful. And so much manufactured issues, just people refusing to be better, do better. It was hard to watch. And I will upfront say I am a Candace and Wendy stand, but they could have even done better. Like, yes, Giselle and Robin were bad. Nneka was boring. Mia was lying. Ashley was useless. And Kern was trying to do everything she could. Everybody else could have really stepped it up, and they just did not. Um, so this episode starts off where with Gordon getting ready to expose what he was about to expose at the end of last episode, which was his bipolar 1 diagnosis. This is pretty interesting because he's going into this diagnosis and he's talking about it. And one thing that he says is that he was diagnosed 2 years prior. So when Mia was pretty much first put on the show, or right after, he found out that he was bipolar and like waited till now to expose it. I don't know. I mean, don't get me wrong, being bipolar, like I am so proud of him for coming out and sharing that diagnosis with us because I can't even imagine how difficult maybe it was for him to actually maybe accept and say. But, he looks at it like that's why Mia left him, not because he was bipolar, but because he wasn't helping himself and she just couldn't take it anymore. So he basically blames himself pretty much for her cheating and stepping out and all this stuff. And, you know, I feel like she would have done it anyway. This is just me. I don't know. But, I think it's nice that Gordon can take accountability for his behavior and say, hey, I messed up. This is something that a lot of those women can't do. But here's Gordon standing up and saying, hey, I messed up. You know, I didn't get myself the help I needed and she couldn't take it. Um, And then he talks about how his mania was part of the reason that his family pushed him out of the position. And it's crazy because I remember a lot of people were wondering, like, that's so random that his siblings were just like, no, you can't hold this position anymore. But if he had that diagnosis and he wasn't helping himself, it makes 100% sense because he was probably doing things as CEO that they did not agree with. And it was like, hey, you're doing this, and it's because of this issue you have. Or maybe they didn't know what was wrong with him. So they're just kind of like, you're behaving in a manner that doesn't make any sense to our business. And we got to get rid of you. And it was because of this. So I really do appreciate him opening up about it and explaining everything and kind of just letting us know because I think we all had a lot of questions when we found out that he was pushed out of his company and all of that. So makes sense. Then Mia pretty much talks about how, because I think Giselle asked her, like, what are you going to do? And this and that. And she's like, well, I'm always going to take care of Gordon and this and that and whoop de whoop de whoop. And so I think that's nice of her. I mean, he financed your life for a couple of years. So I guess it's like the nicest thing you could do for him is take care of him as he heads off into the sunset. Because Gordon is not young. He actually comes off as young, but I think Gordon and Ray are like the same age. Ray wears his age a little more, but I think they're quite close in age. But Gordon is definitely in his 70s. Um, then we move to NECA finally. Like, I think this might be the first question she's asked all reunion. And he asked about her like IUI journey. They do a little background of everything that happened for her this season, and they talk about her IUI journey. And she said that it didn't take, and now she's on the IVF journey, and she's been getting like advice from Candace, and all the other women are giving her support through the journey. And someone asked her, why does she say LA raised Nigeria made me, LA raised me, and Potomac would remember me when you were born in or raised in Wisconsin or something like that. And they were like, what is that? Where are you from, Wisconsin? She's like, yeah, I'm from Wisconsin. So why are you lying? Why would you even come up with a tagline? You should have said Wisconsin raised me. She said she was raised in Wisconsin. Girl, that should have been your tagline. LA might sound cool, but that's not where you're from. You're not from LA. That's me, like me saying, oh, LA raised me. I'm not from LA. That's weird. That's weird to just pick a random city. Yeah, I might have lived there. I used to live in a lot of places. Am I going to say, oh, Washington raised me, Oregon raised me? That's random. If I just went and lived there for a year or two, that don't make no sense. So it's kind of weird that she did say that, which just goes to show Nneka's willing to be dishonest for what she thinks is an aesthetic, which I think a lot of people kind of missed on that point. But that's what I got from that. If she feels like it fits the aesthetic that she wants, she'll say that lie because LA didn't raise you. But it sounds better. Um, then they talk about how she was supposed to be brought on the show, and Andy says like, production said they came to you to bring her on the show because you knew her and you were like upset about it. And Wendy was like, I was never upset about that. I told them, they came to me. They asked me if I knew her. I said, I do not know her. And they said, well, that's weird. She told us that she knows you. Now, I feel like so many people on the interwebs was like, oh, Andy clocked her. Da, 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 da. Carlos said that a long time ago. Other people have said that. She even said that. Like, how are you, like, I just want you guys to think a little bit, just a little, just not a lot. I'm not asking for a lot of thought from y'all, just a little bit. Wendy says she don't know her. It might have been shady. I'm sure it was shady, but it's like if you're thinking you're gonna ride me for clout and be like, oh well, I know Wendy, that's why I should get on the show. No, you don't know me like that. So I get that if that's what Wendy thought it was, but if production made it clear, you know, we're going to bring her anyway, you have to introduce her. I'm sure Wendy would have maybe given in. Who knows? I don't know. But they try to make it seem the way Wendy presents it is as if they were like, oh, she says she knows you, and so you can bring her on. That's not true. And so Nneka was like, I never said that I knew her. I only said that she met her before and she met her at a Fino concert with less than 20 people. There are so many people I've met in this lifetime. Met them, sat with them, broke bread with them because maybe they knew someone else I knew. But I would never come to a space, go to a job. And if my job was like, do you know anybody who work here? I'd be like, oh, I know that person. I would never say that if I only met them and had like one conversation with them. If your number is not saved in my phone, I don't know you. I would never say that. I would never say that. And so that's what's so weird to me because a lot of people are like, yeah, she knows her. You guys are being unrealistic. If someone came and said they knew you and you just met them and had one conversation with them, you would be like, no, I don't know that person. And that's why I think it's a double standard that you guys like to play. Y'all don't like Wendy, so Wendy knew her. But if someone had said that about you, you would have been like, I don't know that person. Because that's what I would do. That's what any normal person would do. Like, I don't really know that person. Like, they said they knew me. Like, okay, that's weird. And then the fact that her husband's cousin, again, making her a cousin in law, very, very distant, was friends with Ivy and then had texted Wendy and was like, oh, let me connect you two. So she didn't know her at all. She never met her. The connection never actually happened. And that connection didn't happen not because Wendy had a problem, but because Ivy and LeBay fell out. Why did they fall out? I don't know. No one has actually spoken on that. That could be Ivy's fault. That could be Wendy's mom's fault. I don't know. But no one has actually spoken to that. And that's the only piece that we're really missing. Why did LeBay and Ivy fall out to the point where Wendy doesn't want to associate with someone that is close to LeBay? We're talking about a lot of things, but we're not talking about the important things. Um, NECA was like, they wanted me from Married to Medicine, and they had reached out to Ike. Now, I'm not saying that didn't happen. Who knows? But her and Ike have been married for a year, maybe less than a year. You're telling me all the doctors online in different spaces and all these places, and they found Ike and said, "Oh, you're getting married. We want you on Married to Medicine." She didn't audition. She didn't put her application in. She makes it seem like she was sitting in her house chilling and somebody came and was like, "We want you on Married to Medicine." Where did they find you? That doesn't sound realistic to me. There's a lot of black medical doctors that could be on those types of shows. There has to be something like everybody's like, "Oh, they wanted her elsewhere." Well, why wasn't she elsewhere? Why did she pick Potomac? Why didn't she pick to go on Married to Medicine? Maybe that would have fit her better. I don't know. Doesn't really add up to me. I'm not saying they didn't want her, but I'm saying like, how did they want her? Did she apply and they wanted her, or did they come pluck her out of her house and want her? Because I don't know. Then they Andy brings up the Osu issue, and he's like, okay, we didn't know the sensitivity of this situation prior to, but what is Osu and what does that actually mean? And he asks Wendy, and Wendy's like, since Ashley is the one that brought it on this show, Ashley, what does it mean? Ashley was on mute. She had nothing to say. And then here comes NECA trying to, no, NECA, no one's talking to you. And Wendy was like, no, wait, let her explain. Because this is her thing. Is she the one that heard about it, want to talk about it? Let her answer. Here comes Ashley with one of her stupid answers that she always gives. And she's like, I didn't know, blah, 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 blah. And everybody's like, here comes NECA talking about she's giving Ashley a pass. She's not giving Ashley a pass. Ashley's not Nigerian. You see how she was just on mute? She let her ignorance speak for herself. She's a fool. She don't know anything. So if I like, you could be mad, but how could you be mad at somebody who doesn't even know anything about anything of what it means? They just repeating what they see without any context, you know, that's simple. You're the one that after that allegation came out, you start calling her mama a witch. Baby, you're the problem because Ashley is a fool and you could deal with a fool, but you are intentionally calling my mama a witch. I've said this earlier in my videos. You not calling my mama a witch and we gonna be cool. That could I can't even imagine a world in which that happens. Oh, your mom's a witch. In this United States, my mom, my own mom, they're calling it witch. What business do we have talking about? It can never happen. It can never happen. NECA, I would have fought her. Wendy is classy. You're not calling my mom a witch. We not glossing over that. No way. And so then finally, NECA says like, Osu is something that's taboo, and they were still trying to get a definition. And Ike had to hop in and be like, we don't talk about it. It's just something is that bad. And so they kind of moved topics, thankfully. Um, then Andy sends the men out. And honestly, the men were useless. Why did they come out? Just to see Ray? Like, just to prove that Robin Dixon don't have nobody behind her? Just to prove Giselle don't have no man? Like, it really didn't make no sense. Like, yes, they were there. They talked to Chris briefly. He checked the girls. Gordon really had a purpose, but the rest of them, did they talk or maybe they just cut it out? We, you know, in the last one, I think I didn't mention it, but Eddie talks about making 2 million in sales so far for Happy Eddie, and the company's only been out 6 months. And honestly, shout out to them because, woo, baby, that's money. That's dope, you know? And so it's just like the men weren't really useful. I really, I really think Andy, I mean, he always brings the men out, but he really wanted to stick it in Robin that your man ain't here and he's never here to defend you because he don't like you. That's what I think that was. So then Kiana comes out. Oh, she's so sweet. Um, and she's talking about like, you know, I like everybody. I got to know everybody, you know, or like everybody is subjective. I think she kind of just there's people she don't care for, but it's like overall, I like everybody. So no big deal. Then they talk about, you know, Wendy and Candace. Well, basically Wendy, because she's known Kay for about 5 years now, about Wendy leaving her when they got to the hotel and not wanting to room with her. And Wendy was like, no one had to share a room. And because no one had to share a room, it didn't even make any sense to be talking about it. And then Robin and Giselle were like, we didn't know that at that time. You know, they trying to talk on their side. You knew that because when Robin said how many rooms there were 8 rooms and 9 people. Only 2 people had to share at worst. And you had already said that it had to be the Grand Dame. So why is Wendy worried about I just feel like Robin and Giselle like to be purposely stupid and people who stand them move in that same manner sometimes. Like they like to be purposely foolish because it's like, what are you talking about? You said, Robin, 8 rooms, 4 have double beds, 4 have single beds, and then there's 9 people. Maybe you're not good at math, but it only means 2 people have to share. Just simple. And then apparently it turned out that no one really had to share because they ended up having 9 rooms, I guess. So it just is weird. But you know, she talks about she was grateful that Giselle did check in on her. And Candace is like, I feel like Giselle was being strategic in checking in. Girl, strategic about what? I think that she just checked in on somebody. And I don't think it's like, oh, I like Kay so much or anything. I think she checked in on Kay because Cal knows Kay and likes Kay. And Cal is Jizzy's person. Like that's her friend for real. So I think that that kind of motivated her behavior. I don't think it was anything more, anything less. I think it was just, hey, I noticed that she wasn't feeling well. So let me go check in on her. So I think Candace was way off the mark when she thought it was strategic. But I do think that Candace is just so, I guess, just so wary of Giselle that every move she makes is calculating. But I do not think for any reason that was a calculating move. Like even looking back on it, thinking back on it, nothing about that move on Giselle's part seemed calculating. It really seemed like, oh, this is Cal's friend. And, you know, I saw she wasn't feeling well. So let me come check. Um, then they show that, you know, they show like a little montage of Wendy and whatever, and they're talking about how Wendy was calling Mia slow, and Wendy was like, "You are." And I let me tell you, I love the fact that Wendy is not backing down on that. She's not. She's like, "You're slow," and I get it. I know Mia keeps trying to attribute it to like, "Oh, I have a kid who's has an IEP," and no one called your kid slow. They called you slow, and you are. That's just plain and simple. Like I Wendy should never back down on that point, and I'm glad she did not. Then she apologized for calling Nneka a crackhead. Um, it was an apology. She did say she was sorry. She shouldn't have said it. But what I do wish she would have done to for the sake of peace, I feel like she should have stopped, looked at her, and said, "Nneka, you know, I was just overwhelmed. I said this. I should not have said this, and I'm sorry." Boom. Did she apologize? Yes, she did. but she didn't apologize in like a good way to me. Would I have, again, for the sake of the show, I probably would have taken it like whatever, I don't care. But I think that her apology should have been like more straightforward and direct. You're apologizing, you might as well do it right. That's how I feel. If you're going to apologize, do it right. Stop, look at the person you're apologizing to and let them know that you're sorry. I'm not I believe she should pay her dust, but if you are going to apologize, why are you doing it like in this quick way? Like, girl, just say you're sorry. Look at her. Girl, I shouldn't have called you a crackhead. I was acting up. I was wilding, and I'm sorry. Boom. Simple. But I feel like Wendy wanted to give the apology because she knew she was wrong, but because she doesn't really care for NECA, she didn't want to like give the apology. But I think that's whack. Just give it. Um, then uh she says that Mia is a pathological liar. I agree with that. Again, she be clocking Mia and she doesn't like it. Mia does not like being clocked by Wendy because Wendy is the only person that does like, I mean, she hee hees and ha ha's at the things she says, but she knows like, oh, but you're a liar and you have a problem. And so I think that bothers Mia. Mia wants to be kind of the girl that everybody just lets get away with whatever. Maybe that's how her life has been, but Wendy is like, no, girl, you're a liar. And then, you know, Candace was like, her name is Mia be lying. And Mia goes, and you be Candace be crying. And it's like, but you do be crying. And you also be lying. So perfect names all around. Like, it's not even like shade because it's real. Mia be lying and Candace be crying. That square, it lives in the corner of her eye. Like, honestly, I don't know how Candace sees because there is a square in the corner of her eye at all times. I could never imagine being so emotional all the time about everything. Like, it seems almost exhausting. I really I really want to know how Candace does it. Like, I'm exhausted watching Candace cry all the time. I mean, it's good to be emotional, but I'm like, all the time, girl, all the time. Like, somebody will be like, I woke up and Candace will be like, I can't. Like, it seems so much. Like, I like her, but girl, I want her to toughen up because I feel like they use that as like a weapon against her. And if she could control her tears a little bit, but you know what I will say? She doesn't cry when people attack her. Like, if people could read, I could be wrong. I feel like she wouldn't cry. I feel like she cries over friendships, over, whatever, not really sad things, but not really so much. Like, I don't think she would cry if somebody was coming at her with a read. I don't think so, but you know, you never know. Um, and then, Andy asks Wendy, are you still teaching? Are you still a professor? And she says, like, oh, I'm going to step away from, working as a professor because I'm trying to do too much. He says, like, she does too much. She's like, yeah, but I am doing a lot and I'm missing moments. And it's, she has 3 kids. Her youngest is now going to kindergarten. And, she's like, I don't want to miss those moments, and it's a lot. And that's the one thing as a working parent, I don't like to, whatever, but as a working parent, if you're really doing too much, you will miss moments. And if you want to be an active and involved parent, you have to kind of like pull away from certain things. So if being a professor is the least paying job that she has, because here's the thing, even I don't know about her YouTube channel. I don't know like if she's already monetized or whatever, because I don't know. Even though I have a YouTube channel, I clearly don't have enough subscribers to do any monetization yet. So I don't know exactly how that works. But if she's already monetized, maybe she's making more money and it takes less time. Maybe she's able to do more from home. I don't know. Um, but I wish her the best in that endeavor of just being there for her kids. And I think all of them that have kids, it's like something that you want, because if you have those kids, you want to be there and raise them. Um, Then they move to Ashley, do a little montage of her and her, which is funny because they show her this season and she pretty much she had a lot of drama surrounding her, but she herself wasn't really relevant or important. She talks about how she's dating someone, but the person she's dating doesn't have any kids and doesn't want to be married. So she kind of sees this person more as like a friend because she knows nothing could ever come from it because she wants to be remarried someday. Um, then Andy calls her out and says, people think you're faking about this divorce and that you're never going to get it. And you're just doing it to have, like, basically a storyline. And she says that her and Michael be going from a good place to a toxic place, from a good place to a toxic place, or whatever. And that, Michael already has a new girlfriend. So it has to be over. But I don't know. I think she's going to keep dragging her feet. She says she filed something with the court, but she said a complaint, but it wasn't a divorce. So, like, I will believe her when she has finalized her divorce. That's the only time I'll believe Ashley because for now, she's trying to get money. And she even said that she's trying to get a sizable amount from him. And that prenup sounds like she's not getting nothing from that man. So I don't know where this sizable amount is going to come from. So I think she has to kind of remain married for now to enjoy the fruits of Michael's labor. Um, then she asked, like, oh, well, because you were married and you guys have kids together, would Michael take care of you even though you guys are divorced? Like he should, or like whatever. And Ashley was like, basically no. And that's kind of sad, like, don't get me wrong. I understand that when you divorce, it's like we're divorced. But for someone to divorce you, someone that you love, someone, whatever, he must know that you're either a fool because you're on the show and you're not saving any money or whatever. I don't know. Or something, because why wouldn't he? I mean, she said he would help the kids, of course, but the way he acting, I don't know. I don't know if he'd help the kids. Like the way she talking, I feel like he'd leave them kids to dry too. He might not. He might be better than that. I hope he's better than that. First of all, I hope the state of Virginia forces him to be better than that. But like it just sounds like you left me for dead, ho. Like that's how I feel. Like once they're done, it's over. And that's really, really why she's dragging her feet. Um, then she was talking about like, I massage Michael's feet every night. Everybody's like, massage. She's like, no, massage, duh. Don't forget the D like I used to. I'm like, you was really up in that place working for your money. That's what you was doing. You was working, baby. Working for that money that he was giving you, the crumbs with the terrible. He knew what he was doing. She said, I got with Michael. When I got with Michael, I had just gotten out of school and they post the picture. And I don't know if anybody else noticed it, but that was a high school photo. Do you see what grooming causes? You get with somebody very young, they have no idea about anything. They sign this ironclad prenup, and now that they're trying to get out, they have nothing. They don't know how to do anything for themselves. They don't know anything. And, that is the only thing that makes me feel minusculely sorry for Ashley because she got played. She married someone who was a gajillion times smarter than her. She didn't know anything. She didn't know anything. She didn't know nothing. And he took advantage of that. That's the way it seems because now she can't even really leave and take care of herself. Um, Then Andy asks both Ashley and Giselle, well, mostly Ashley, but about their clothing line and what's going on and this and that. And they were talking about it. She's like, oh, working with Giselle is this and that. And Giselle's like, oh, yeah, blah, blah, blah. But one thing I did notice is neither one of them mentioned the sales of GNA. That's not a good sign. The way Eddie was able to be like, oh, Happy Eddie's had this and that, blah, 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 whoop de whoop. Why can't you do that for GNA? Why can't you be like, we just opened and we've already sold out? I mean, that's how Robin's hat business was. She opened that website and them was gone. They was selling. They can't say that about GNA. I've gone to the website. The stuff looks a mess. It's just not good stuff. And it's not because it has big GNA all over it. It's just the stuff doesn't look good. Now, it might be quality. I have not touched the material. I have not seen it up close and personal, right? Like you never really know. But from the looks of it, it looks tacky. But it might have good quality. And sometimes things that look tacky are nice and have quality, like Crocs. Crocs are an ugly shoe, right? But they're comfy. They have purpose. People like them. They have good colors, right? So just because GNA on the surface looks bad, it might ultimately be the best workout clothes that you ever put on. I will not be the person trying to find that out, but someone who does purchase it, all her fans, Ashley and Giselle have so many fans. I hope they purchase it and they let us know what it is like because I'm very curious. Um, then they finally bring up the fight. Kay is out there, so they ask Kay like what happened, and she explains. She's like, and I love that she says like Wendy was initially the person trying to like calm everything down, and Deborah was just kind of out of control. Then Candace is like, I didn't do anything. She came at me hostile and I just responded. I did not call her out of her name or address her till she came over to me. And it's funny because Mia was like, well, she tried to come to me talking about, I'm a four, Mia. I'm a four because, Mia said she wasn't cute. And she's like, and I just, squashed it. And I'm like, I maybe she did do that to Mia. A part of me feels like Mia just wants to be part of it, right? Like, oh, let me show that there was different ways to handle it. Like it just maybe she did say that. Maybe that did happen, but because Mia lies so often, kind of have a hard time believing that's what happened. Sorry. But either way, she said that she squashed it because she kind of said, no, we're all queens or whatever. I'm like, why would that squash it when you didn't raise her ranking? You didn't tell her, oh, you're not a four, you're a 10. You just said, no, we're all beautiful queens. Like, no, baby, you a four still. But then Jizzy said that she blames everybody, Wendy, Candace, Deb, and Kay for, the fight. They're all responsible. And I'm like, that is I know Candace doesn't like to believe that her castmates are colorists, but the fact that Giselle blamed every dark skinned cast member or friend of and didn't list Ashley, who brought the girl, like, come on, it's right here. It's right there. She's saying it's right there. She's telling you, I don't like darkies. That's what she said. And y'all darkies is a problem. That was simple. I'm sure if she wasn't trying to keep Nneka on her good side, she would have blamed her too. Like, it's crazy to me. She literally just said that. And Mia had to hop in and be like, Wendy was like, well, what did I do? And Mia had to hop in and be like, no, Wendy was literally trying to de escalate. But it took Mia saying that for Giselle to be like, oh, okay, I'll take Wendy out of it. Like, it's not, if someone comes to me and is in my face trying to provoke me, and I don't slap the shit out of them because Candace did not. She just called her the help and said, get her out of my face. And then that person proceeds to throw a glass cup into my friend's face. The only person you can blame is the person that took a glass cup and threw it into another person's face. They were like, well, Kiana, you were punching her in the face. Yes, because she threw a glass in my face. Now I'm defending myself because she's bleeding from the forehead. Even the United States government allows for people to defend themselves. That's just basic. You know what I mean? Like, what do you mean Kay is at fault because someone threw a glass in her face? That Candace picked up a bottle that Wendy was trying to de escalate. Like, You guys sound crazy, like legitimately crazy town, because you're trying to blame people who were in their own space doing their own thing when someone came and provoked them. It's just stupid. Um, and Andy talks about how and Candace, oh, she gets so emotional. She's like, I picked up the bottle because I feel like none of y'all would defend me. I have to defend myself. And it's sad that she feels that way with Wendy there, with Kay there, but I get it because Wendy's not a fighter. I mean, Wendy didn't even fight Mia when Mia hit her. So maybe she wouldn't have fought. Not because she's not a fighter, but because if she's not going to fight for herself, she can't really fight for you now, can she? Um, and Candace was crying about that, and they were all like, "Oh, blah blah blah." I'm like, I wish she would have gone upside her head with that bottle. That would have really been the best thing for her. Then they would have kicked her off the show or whatever. But at least she would have went out knowing that some girl attacked her, and she went upside her head with a bottle. Um, then Andy talks about how people believe that Ashley brought Deborah just to cause problems, just to stir stuff up. And Ashley was like, no, she told me that she just wanted to talk to her and have this conversation. And I'm like, Ashley is such a liar. She's not even good at it. I really think that they give her too much grace because she's not even a good liar. Your friend who has spent the past year on Instagram using this to bolster her following, to act like she's this, she's that, has been talking all types of mess about Candace, came just to talk about her husband. Like, you cannot say you did not know. You cannot say that. You brought her with an intention. And the fact that everybody is letting her go and acting like Ashley did not do that, it just pisses me off so bad. Like, I'm like, that's why she came. She came with a motive. And it's sad that y'all letting it go. I just, that pisses me off a lot. Then Ashley then apologizes to Kay, and Kay is like, yeah, you're the queen of aftermath apologies. Like, that's the thing. You stir all this stuff up and then you want to come with an apology. Why don't you proactively keep from stirring stuff up? Like, if you come to apologize after you brought Osu to my name on television, if you come to apologize after someone broke a glass in my face, like, you didn't apologize in real time. You apologizing at the reunion. Girl, I got a glass to my face. The fact that she's like, oh, I apologize. You're apologizing now. Someone threw a glass in my face and cut it open, and you were aware, and you are apologizing now, months later. Girl, that doesn't mean the same thing. You should have asked Wendy for my number, or given Wendy, expressed your apologies or something, whatever you thought would have worked. But you waited till the reunion to apologize. Girl, bye. That's raggedy. Um, then he asked Kay, like, do you have anything before you take off? And Kay just wanted to thank Karen for being there for her. And it was actually a really sweet moment. She's like, I had nobody. Like, when this happened, I was scared. I was embarrassed. I was, feeling all these feelings. And for you to just immediately hop up and be like, I got you. I'm going to go to the hospital with you. Or didn't drive. I can be there by your side. I can support you. She's like, it really meant a lot to me. And Karen was like, no, of course. I got every one of these girls here. She basically said, like, if any one of them were in that situation or a situation similar, she would be there for them. She's like, even Robin. And I do think Karen, she's very matronly. Like, she takes that mothering role very seriously, and you can see it and tell. That's why she is the fence, because she feels like she has to actually just be there for all of them. um and so, yeah, she's that's just who she is. So I think that moment between her and Kay was really genuine, really sweet. um and I think it was nice that, in that moment, Kay really made a friend in Karen. Then she leaves, and Andy asks the girls about any progress before the reunion ends. He asks about Candace and Robin. Robin's like, I have no animosity or ill will towards Candace. And it's like, but you've been talking, rolling your eyes, doing all the things that you say Candace does all reunion long, but you have no animosity, no ill will, no hard feelings. Like, girl, shut up. That's a lie. And then Candace was basically like, I have it's the same. She's like, you heard her here. She said that our friendship is over, whatever. So if that's the case, then if anything changes, the ball is in her court. I spent the time mourning this friendship, like whatever. Then he asked Nneka and Wendy if they could be cool. And Wendy already said it before. She said, we can coexist. We can get along. There's no beef. And I feel like people want her to be like, oh my God, yes, Nneka, we could be like sisters. I love you. But it's like, you got to be wary about somebody who call your mama a witch on national television. That's pretty big. I'm sorry. Like, the best I could give you is we could be cool in the same space. That's the best I can give you because I can't give you too much more because of what you did to my mom. I gotta protect myself and my family. Like, yes, if we work together, we're coworkers. I can give you that. We cool. We can whatever. But if you think I'm gonna be best friends, buddy, buddy, maybe not. Maybe right. Maybe we get past. Maybe we finally have that conversation that needs to happen. But it's still kind of fresh. It hasn't even been 1 year since you called my mama a witch. That's crazy town. So I need some time. So I think it's crazy that they, you know, think that they should just automatically be cool. And Wendy's like, what did I do to you, Nneka? And Nneka has been saying that Wendy tried to ice her out. Like, that doesn't even make sense. When Wendy isn't even cool with a majority of the group, I mean, she's cool with some people, but not everybody. And they have tried to ice her out. How could she have them ice you out, Nneka? It just is stupid logic. And that, again, is the reason why Nneka's fans, those people, they don't make sense. You say nobody likes Wendy. You see that these people don't like Wendy, and you think that she has the power to ice someone out. It doesn't make any sense. And even Candace talks to Nneka, so clearly she didn't have a conversation with her girl and say ice this person out. Like, no. Um, then they ask Candace about Jizzy, and basically Jizzy's like, she doesn't take accountability and da 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 da. I'm like, girl, no. Giselle, bye. Candace actually came with the intention to move forward, and you could tell. You could tell. No matter what anybody says, you could tell because she wasn't reading Giselle down like I know she wanted to because Candace has some nasty reads, and she did not let one of those go on Giselle. Meaning, you could tell she was like, okay, let me see if I could really move forward with this person. And it's just not possible because Giselle is such a nasty spirit, just a horrible human being that exists. And she gets away with it because there are people that are like, oh my God, I like her regardless because she's so mean. Ha ha ha. That's so funny. I'm like, she's almost 60. The mean girl rap, it's done. It's over. You're almost 60. It's not cute anymore. Maybe at 21, maybe at 25, but you're 60, bro. Almost 60. Let it go. Um, and it's funny because at the end, at the very end, they bring out frozen pies, um, and to toast or whatever. And Giselle and Karen crown Andy the Duke of Potomac, and he was like genuinely excited about it. I mean, he might have been acting, but he looked genuinely excited. I was surprised. Um, and then it's funny because I watched this reunion, and one of the thoughts I had, so since the reunion has aired, Robin has announced officially that she was fired. Uh, Candace announced earlier that she decided to step away, and since the reunion aired, she has since announced that she is pregnant and with child. I'm so excited for her. I think I mentioned it here that I thought that's why she stepped away. I was like, what if she stepped away because she's already pregnant? Like, this show is stressful. You don't want to deal with that stress. You step away. People think she was fired, but with her pregnancy announcement, it's really looking like I don't want to be here while I'm pregnant. Y'all are drama. And it's not a conducive environment for someone who is with child, So that's what I think she was doing. We heard rumors that Nneka might have been fired, which I think would be great. I just don't think she brought anything. And I think that she said she had all these other scenes recorded, but they must have been so boring that they just didn't care to show them. And that's what I'm standing on. Like, if your additional scenes were entertaining and people liked it and was cool, I think they would have showed it. I think the truth of the matter is people are like, oh, they didn't give her a shot. I think they didn't give her a shot because she's actually boring. And the stuff that she did wasn't entertaining, or they didn't think it was. So they didn't want to show it. And I ultimately don't think Andy liked NECA too much because I feel like when she spoke all throughout the reunion, he spent a lot of time like, okay, okay. Like he was pretty much treating her like, why is she here? You know what I mean? Like he definitely was like, anytime she spoke, he would look at her and he'd look away. Like one of those just I don't like her type behaviors, which I thought was pretty interesting. Since she's new, right? She's new. Why do you what reason do you have to dislike NECA yet, right? Like we as viewers are like, oh, she did this, she did that, but I just don't know why Andy wouldn't like her, but it came off that he did. So I'm excited. Although they people are saying boycott Real Housewives of Potomac, and I probably will not watch next season. Um, Dang, if I'm not watching Salt Lake City and I'm not watching Potomac, what will I watch? Will I just add on Beverly Hills and Miami or New Jersey, or what am I gonna do? I don't know. I'll have to see. But I will say I am excited to see who they add. Will they add Kay? Will they add someone else? What is their plan? Is NECA really fired? Are they gonna get rid of Ashley? Like I'm really, really curious to see what direction do they plan to take this show now that they have released officially two people and we hear that they may also be releasing more. I'm curious, what are they going to do? I'm excited. I'm actually curious to see how Giselle moves without Robin. You don't have your main. Will you feel so confident? Yeah, you're cool with Ashley. Yeah, you're cool with Mia, but these aren't your main people. And these people won't let you ice people out. Because Mia talks to Wendy. Mia talks to Candace. Well, Candace is gone, but Mia talks to Wendy. So you can't ice somebody out with these people. Robin, because she's a follower, sorry, girl, you are, allowed you to do that, like with her. You know what I mean? So I'm curious. I am curious. I want to hear what the announcement is. I do think they probably need a little bit of a longer break to kind of just you know, decompress from this season. But I am curious to see what happens, who stays, who goes, and how season 9 unfolds. So please like, comment, subscribe, share. Tell me what you thought of Real Housewives of Potomac season 8. Share your thoughts on the reunion part 3. I know a lot of you guys boycotted it, but I am here for y'all. I'm here for y'all. Y'all can watch my recaps and get all the information. Okay. So I will see you guys next time, or you know what? Next season. All right. That's it. Bye.